So here are the 6 reasons why we started investing in the US market since 2022. So number 1 is affordability. Okay, this is the biggest issue because the Toronto price, we're looking at anywhere between $800K to all the way to $1.3 million, depending on where you are. And those numbers just won't work in today's market. So affordability became the top 1 priority for us when we're looking for cash flowing properties. The property has a cash flow and the city has to be growing and all that stuff. When we started looking to a different market, it's just a much easier solution compared to trying to make the number work here locally in Toronto. So if you're in tier 1 city, start looking out of state investing, out of country investing, because this will give you a much higher return, which leads to number 2, what we call a 1% rule. And if you're not familiar with 1% rule, 1% rule means that if you're buying a property, let's say at 200K, 300K, and your rent can go up to around 2 to 3K, 1% of your purchase price. That's what we call 1% rule. That's a very good indicator. Actually, back in 2015, those were the golden rule that we're trying to follow. So in today's market, in the US market, tier 2, tier 3 cities, you can still do that. And that's what I highly recommend you to do that, because in today's market, price is just too high. Inflation and all that stuff, everybody needs cash flow immediately. Number 3, taxes. Here in Canada, there are only 2 ways that you can truly get that capital equity out. And one is by selling the property. So you can do the value add improvement and you can sell that property for a profit. But guess what? We're all going to get penalized by the CRA with the capital gain tax. The second way is to do the refinance, the BRRRR method. But in today's market, the biggest issue is that when you're doing this, then you're taking more loan at a much higher interest rate. So either way doesn't make any sense anymore. So when people talk about doing the BRRRR method, hoping that appreciation or do some value add in the future, honestly, right now is just not the right time. So there's a different strategies in different real estate cycle. In 2024, 2025, BRRRR method is just not the way to do it. Number 4, landlord-tenant laws. This is something that I pay close attention when I'm looking for a different market. Locally, at least I get to see the property, I get to talk to my tenants, I get to build that relationship. The moment I'm going out of the way, out of state, investing into a different asset class, I'm not going to see that. I'm not going to have that access to my tenants, to my local team. So it is really important for me to kind of understand that the power dynamic between landlord and tenants are going to be a little bit more fair. So Ohio is actually one of them. It checks out all the boxes. There is no lease continuation, meaning when the lease ends, I get to say, hey, listen, I don't want to continue renting it to you, and I'm going to place another tenant, and there wouldn't be any dispute after that. In Ontario, unfortunately, it's going to be a month-to-month lease that we have to follow, and getting the tenants out becomes extremely challenging. Another thing is that non-payment rent. All that stuff is something that I care a lot about investing in rental properties. If I don't get that kind of rent consistently, guess what? It's going to affect my ROI, and that's not going to be something that I want to see. So landlord-tenant laws is something that you definitely need to pay attention to. Number 5 is the creativity of the deal. What I really mean is the following. In Canada, there's only so much you can do. You have to go through a traditional or conventional type of lending options. And really, you can only lock that in for 3 to 5 years. And with the rules and everything that's been designed, you can do double close, you can do sub 2, even take over other people's mortgage. There's just a lot of things that doesn't actually make sense here in Canada. But in the States, when I'm looking at a long term where I want to have a bit of creativity for the deals I want to structure, at least I have an option to make the deal work. Okay, the last thing is the lending options. Here's the thing, there's only about 60 to 70 lenders here in Canada. In the States, there's 4,000 lenders. How many more opportunities, how many more competitors that they have in order to give me the best rate? I can shop around very easily. And the most important thing is, as a Canadian investing in the US market, my mortgage qualification is not going to be good because I don't have any US credit. But in the States, guess what? They're very pro for investors in certain cities, certain states. Those are the lenders I want to work with. I can use a DSCR loan where they only evaluate the deals. Use that more like a commercial type of approach and evaluate my deals and lend it based on the performance of the building. So they don't really care about who I am, what kind of credits I have. They're willing to just work with me based on the performance of the building. So those are the reasons why I decided to invest in the US market, and my team started investing in the US market for the exact same reason. Because once we started having a side-by-side comparison with how the US market is performing versus Canadian market, we're like, how come we didn't start this earlier? So if you're planning to start investing, start planning for your future investment portfolio in the next 5 to 10 years, guys, we're going to be very naive to say that we can expect the same result in the next 5 to 10 years as what we saw in the past 5 to 10 years. So if you want to learn more about how we did it, exactly how we pivot into the States, we're hosting a session this coming Tuesday. DM us, I'll send you a link. Let's get together. Let's learn how we can actually help you also pivot into the States as well.